Human evolution's biggest fails exposed. You're a hairless ape with back pain, navigating the world with jelly eyes and dangly meat thermometers. And somehow you think you're the pinnacle of design? It's a very novel concept that we humans may in fact not be divine perfect creatures at the center of the universe. Yet, the evidence is irrefutable. We're a great big monkey with delusions of grandeur. And the best evidence for this comes from all the weird broken adaptations we've acquired over the years, thrown together by some drunk IKEA employee. Not really, it's a form of evolution. In this video, we're covering how evolution truly sucks at engineering, and how it only wants one thing. And try to stick it out, because we'll end the whole thing with a bit about balls. Let's start at the beginning. Like, the Genesis beginning. Day 6, when God supposedly made humans. But by then, he must have been creatively spent because our design feels like the biological version of Control plus V. Human evolution is a process of afterthought stacked upon afterthought that goes back over 4.3 billion years, as is the evolution of all life. It's the biological equivalent of taping a wrench to a hammer and then using the whole thing to dig. It works, technically, but clearly it's not the tool for the job. And in this case, the job is sex. All we have to do is pass on our wonky genes to reproduce. It doesn't matter how we get there or how painful the process was, or what happens afterwards, as long as it's done. To put this all into perspective, we've got a few examples. Let's begin with our favorite topic among proponents of intelligent design, the human eye. Our eyes are complex little eyeballs of neurosensory good. They can detect a single photon, adjust focus in around 400 milliseconds, track movement, and differentiate around 1 million colors. It's tightly wired into the brain, giving us high-resolution central vision, decent depth perception, and consequently, our very visual way of understanding the world. But for something often held up as evidence of intelligent design, the human eye is full of baffling decisions. The first red flag is our retina is wired backwards. Light has to pass through a thick layer of nerve cells before it can even reach the rods and cones that detect it. This arrangement reduces resolution, but also creates a literal blind spot where the nerve fibers converge to form the optical nerve, which then exits the eye. And no, this isn't some essential design flaw shared by all eyes. Octopuses don't have this problem at all. Their retinas face the right way around. We also suck in the dark. Unlike many nocturnal mammals, we don't have a tapetum lucidum, that reflective layer that makes a cat's eye glow in a headlamp and helps other mammals see at night by giving incoming light its second pass through the retina. Our rod cells, which handle low light vision, are also modest at best. So once the sun goes down, we're clumsy, disoriented, and basically navigating the world by faith. But our vision isn't as bad as some animals. Most diurnal birds can't tell their ass from their elbow after dusk, but it's still pretty worthless when compared even to a dog's vision in low light. But dogs don't have very good color vision in return. Not as good as ours anyway. And even ours isn't great. We have 3 options for color: red, green, and blue. Dogs only have blue and red. But while those 3 color options of ours are enough to see all colors of the rainbow, they aren't enough to see polarized light, ultraviolet, or spot a mouse in a field from 2 miles away. Each additional color receptor doesn't just bring an additional color, it brings an exponential increase in colors relating to all the new possible combinations. Someone with the genetic variation of tetrachromacy has 1 or more color receptor, but can see tens of millions more colors than a normal person can. And that's just 1 more receptor option. Mantis shrimp have around 16. Not only are our eyes, then, pretty mid at best, but they deteriorate rapidly past peak blinking age due to age-related diseases like cataracts, glaucoma, and macular degeneration. Our eyes only do what's needed to spot a hottie at the other end of the Games Workshop table and get your genes exchanged. After that, evolution says, to hell with them. A miracle? Hardly. And it isn't the only thing that kinda sucks. One of the best signs that our bodies weren't designed well comes from the recurrent laryngeal nerve. There's a nerve that starts in your brain, heads to your larynx, aka voice box, by way of your aorta. It loops under your heart for no good reason, and then doubles back. Because evolution doesn't redesign, it just builds on what came before. And the longer the nerve is, the longer it takes to convey a signal. So, making a nerve longer basically makes it less effective. Back when we were fish, we had shorter necks. And as we've got longer and shuffled our guts, that nerve has stayed on its old route. Trapped by the aortic arch, it's now a 1 meter detour in humans and 5 meters in giraffes. For a nerve that ends up where it started, bravo. We love producing Dino Nerd content, and your support means that we can keep doing it. Now, back to evolutionary fails. The birth canal bottleneck. From next to bottlenecks, giraffes have another cervical feature going for them that we humans don't. They can pass an entire baby giraffe through their birth canals with barely a sigh. Humans are notoriously bad at giving birth. Until modern medicine caught up, it was about the most dangerous thing two people can engage in. Even today, in countries without access to the technologies, it can still be lethal in up to 1% of cases, and would have been significantly worse than this even 200 years ago. Again, that's because of bad design. We evolved to be bipedal, which is why we're rarely on all fours in public, but this came at the cost of hip size. We also evolved to use very complex social computing, which is why our heads came out looking like greasy pink watermelons on the body of a soft-boiled doll. Big heads, when combined with small hips, create problems. Mostly death, but even in the absence of risk, it's unsurprisingly rather painful to squeeze one of these things through a tube that's typically no wider than a human ding-dong. And since you can't change your mind and push them back up there, by the time of birth, there's no evolutionary incentive to make the experience pleasurable at all, because reproduction equals success. Everything else is noise. Spine design. Speaking of all fours, in our multiple ancestral forms, we spent a lot more time with our spines parallel to the ground than we have spent as recent bipeds. This means, to some extent, our spines are still more comfortable in that position. While quadrupeds do get hip and joint pain, we're likely one of the few animals to suffer things like herniated discs and scoliosis. Make no mistake though, our spines are also wonders of evolution, carved out by our environment as bipedal apes. They're just a bit wonky, still. This is another area that degrades over time too, and alongside conditions like arthritis and osteoporosis, contributes to the reminder that if we're past our use-by date, evolution isn't interested. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but be careful, even swallowing comes with risks. 4. Suffocation risk from shared passageway. Overlooking the obvious design flaws of putting the toxic waste release right next to the reproductive inlets, the openings at the top of our bodies are equally congested. We breathe through a worryingly thin straw that's bunched up against our food tube. The trachea and esophagus are critically important entry points for air and food respectively, and sometimes they get confused. The only drawback to ingesting air by mistake is an epic burp, and some would say that's not a drawback at all, but the reverse is far more serious. Getting a sideways chunk of chicken nugget wedged in your cartilaginous air hole can lead to a very quick adjustment of your prognosis, and it happens a lot. For example, in the US, around 5,000 people each year die from choking. 0 stars for design. Okay, I know we promised you balls, and balls we have delivered. Sperm production occurs best at slightly lower temperatures than the rest of the body. Of course, a designer would have invented some kind of internal cooling system that would allow the testicles to stay nestled in the body cavity, safe from boots and children's fists. But no, instead you have the world's most important organs in a wrinkled sack that dangles in harm's way. And to protect them? An overactive pain response. Evolution turned you into a helicopter parent for your own balls, until you accidentally sit on your own. So, there you have it. 6 solid reminders that we are not divinely engineered masterpieces. We're survivors. Barely. Everything we are is a result of random mutations, lucky timing, and a single biological directive to make more of yourself and not die until you do. If you've ever wondered why sneezing hurts your back and stubbing your toe causes a full emotional breakdown, maybe hit subscribe. Or leave a comment telling us which body part you think was designed worst. We're betting it's the sinuses. And as always, stay curious, fossil files.